Drew Fund supporters, and thank you all for joining us. As you know, my name is Grace Dunn, and I have been an ACC patient at Memorial Sloan Kettering since 2014, and I am now on the board of the Drew Fund.
Hello everyone, Patrick O'Donoghue here, and we are so excited for this year's Drew Fund holiday event. Although we would much rather see you tearing up the dance floor, here we are.
Regardless of whether we're all together this year, we still want to keep the momentum going and get even closer to our $1 million goal. We're not that far away, which is very impressive and encouraging.
Yes, thank you for all the donations. We are almost there, so let's keep it going. Keep that momentum up. In addition to get us to our $1 million goal, an anonymous donor is matching $20,000 towards Memorial Sloan Kettering until the end of the year. Well, that challenge was introduced in mid-November, but only took this tribe 21 days to complete.
We thought we would try something a little different than the alternative golf outing we did earlier this year. So welcome to our Drew Fund talk show. Today you'll be hearing from Dr. Diane Reedy, a special guest that will be later introduced by Patrick, and of course, Mr. O'Donoghue.
And no matter what the circumstances are, you will always get to hear from fan favorites. So sit back, grab a drink, a hot cocoa, and enjoy what we have for you this evening.
Now I'd like to introduce our first special guest speaker, Dr. Diane Reedy Lagunas. I've had the honor to be Dr. Reedy's patient for the past 6 years. I know for a fact that if she were not my doctor, my experience with ACC would have been completely different. I can say with great conviction that anyone who has crossed her path would agree. She is the most caring, optimistic doctor that I've ever encountered through my battle. Her passion for those afflicted and yet to be afflicted by ACC is truly unmatched. I am beyond lucky to have such a close relationship with Dr. Reedy, and I know we all can't wait to hear what she has to say. Dr. Reedy, the floor is yours.
Good evening and happy holidays. First, I want to thank Sean, Lisa, Patrick, the board, and everyone involved in the Drew O'Donoghue Fund. Thank you most especially to our supporters. I want to start by saying, as I've said in many other years, I believe in no coincidences in life. The Drew O'Donoghue Fund means the world to me, in part because the O'Donoghues are so very special. Everything I do in medicine is really because of the patient in front of me, but all the patients of tomorrow as well. But Drew and the O'Donoghue family has made an indelible mark on who I am as a person, as well as a doctor. When Drew was first diagnosed with adrenal cancer, we had an affinity and a connection. Perhaps it's because of the way that he loves to dance, as do I, although I do think that his dance moves are a lot better than mine. Perhaps it was his love for those worn-out songs, wedding songs that you hear over and over again, but like he just couldn't get enough of it. Or perhaps it was just his extraordinary touch, kindness, and compassion that really made me feel that I needed to do better to prevent the next Drews from getting these deadly diseases. I have been honored to be a recipient of the grants of the Drew O'Donoghue Fund, and I want you all to know as our donors how grateful we all are, and that you are changing lives. You're helping our patients live happier and healthier lives. It is so important to continue to fund rare cancers. Rare cancers don't receive funding from places like the National Cancer Institute, like diseases like breast cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancer. We have about 500 patients a year that get diagnosed with this disease. Breast cancer is 200,000, prostate cancer 200,000. And so the ability to get our clinical trials done in an effective way is just that much more challenging. I could tell you that it's not because of people that aren't interested. We have amazing scientists that really do want to help our patients with these rare diseases do better. But we do need the donations and we do need the help. I've talked about a trial, and you'll hear from Grace, who was a recipient of that trial and of your gifts, that was thankfully what we call a positive study. It helped our patients live happier and healthier lives. But we didn't stop from there. We knew that only a quarter of our patients derived this tremendous benefit, which meant that 75% of them did not. And so in thinking about what our version 2.0 would be, we really kind of came together and said, okay, how do we best improve our research in this very rare cancer? Well, first and foremost, we collaborate. And so I'm proud to say in this last year, we have worked with what we call the A5, which are 5 different institutions that focus on adrenal cancer to try to improve outcomes, both on the research side in the lab, as well in adrenal cancer clinical trials. We have one trial that is now through or going through our IRB that focuses on adrenal cancers, which is collaborating with those institutions. And then we also have a trial which is in, again, collaboration with Michigan as well as MD Anderson that is focusing on understanding why it is that those 25% of patients had such a great response and 75% did not. So at Michigan, they learned that there's something called hypermethylation, where there's certain proteins that go on top of the cancer. And when you looked at that hypermethylation, those genes in those tumors, across the board, those patients did not respond to what we call platinum-based therapies, chemotherapy-based treatments. So now we're taking our study, which was immunotherapy in adrenal cancer patients, and we're using that same exact technology that Michigan did, the same exact IRB protocol, to look at our samples and say, was this the reason that our patients on immunotherapy didn't respond? These types of studies are so critical because it really helps us enrich the patient populations who will benefit, but then importantly for those that will not, to try to come up with other ideas and other discoveries to help them as well. So these are examples of where the money and the donations go to help our patients. So I can't thank you enough. This is one of my most favorite events, and so I can't say that I'm not sad that we're not all together. This year has been a harrowing time for many, many reasons. I was involved in COVID-19 leadership at Memorial. We had a COVID-19 emergency response team that cared for many patients. So I knew firsthand the tragedies that this disease has brought to many patients and families. I also, however, know that there are many patients out there that are undiagnosed with cancer because they were so afraid to go to the doctors because of the COVID-19 pandemic that's going on. So we still have a lot of work to be done. We're working very hard, not only for our patients with cancer, but now also our patients with COVID-19. So for those in the tri-state area, I want to say a shout out just to be safe. As you all know, the pandemic is still very much here. I'm wearing my mask to protect those in the room with me during this very difficult time, but I do hope that during the holiday seasons you are also staying safe and staying healthy. So lastly, again, I wanted to say thank you for all you do and all you represent for helping us care for patients with these very rare diseases. And I'd like to now invite one of my favorite people, Ms. Grace Dunn, to share her journey and her experience. Happy holidays.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reedy, for everything that you do. It's always so great to see and hear from you. You've been a huge part of my life the past several years, through good and bad times, and you're an inspiration to all.
Now, Grace, are you able to provide an update on your health?
Yes. Probably the only good news in 2020 is that I had a CAT scan back in August and it was clean. That result has put me at 2 years with no detection of any new tumors. And I know I always say this, but I've looked forward to this moment ever since I was first diagnosed. This is the longest I've gone without cancer in the past 6 years, so knock on wood. I can't even express how lucky I am to be in that pool of 25% who benefited from immunotherapy. How can anyone express their gratitude towards something that saved their life? It only brings me to tears to know that I have so many more days to look forward to and time to give so that others can feel the same way. So thank you, Dr. Reedy, and thank you, immunotherapy, for saving my life. Going forward, I'll continue to receive scans every 6 months until Dr. Reedy tells me otherwise. I'm only looking up from here and trying my hardest not to look back. However, I don't like to harp on my good fortune while I know so many others are dealing with either much worse health realities or even just the unknown of what's to come. I just want my positive outcome to inspire those who have ACC or those who know someone that does. New technological advances surface every single day, and you never know when it will defeat this rare cancer like the immunotherapy has for mine so far. Dr. Reedy touched on MSK's collaboration with the A5, so things can only look up from here. Anything can happen, and I'm here to prove it. So thank you all so much for your continued concern, support, and well wishes. I can't wait to speak in front of all of you once September 2023 comes and I'm officially 5 years cancer-free. Our goal here at the Drew Fund is to have every ACC patient experience that moment and never look back to the horror that ACC causes. So thank you.
Grace, first off, congratulations.
Thank you.
So great to hear. And honestly, your humbleness, it's very heartwarming. And before I get too emotional, let's head to a quick water break and commercials. And we will see you back here with our great friend Jimmy and a word from our special guest. My typical response to the Drew Fund logo and how it came to be causes me to put up my emotional shield and simply say, yeah, it's a picture of me and my brother's hands. The story ends there. I do get asked that question a lot, as the unedited picture of the logo is the background on my phone. For those of you who have asked and received a short answer, and for those of you who are new to the fund or have been with us for all 6 years, it's time to share the full story. Maybe a little overdue, but it's time. It's time because you all should have been there in that room with Drew alongside loving family members, as if everywhere and everything outside the hospital room stood completely still. There I was, sitting next to Drew, holding his hand, giving him every ounce of spiritual power I mustered up and borrowed from all the family and friends surrounding him. It was in that moment when Drew started his next journey. Something was telling me, don't let go, not yet. At the ultimate lowest part of my 20-year life, there was a flash of a calm responsibility. If you knew Drew, you know that was him. That feeling got me to take out my phone and capture a picture of us holding hands, as brothers for life, brothers forever. As time went on, I didn't show anyone this picture for weeks or maybe months. I ended up showing Sean and Lisa, mom and dad, to me. They helped me realize how powerful the photo was. We had Julie Klimchek, a family friend, make it into our logo, which beautifully and metaphorically symbolizes the mission of the fund. It shows family, community, support, guidance, love, and ultimately a bond or promise that we will be there for those afflicted by adrenal cancer.
Hello everyone, I'm Jim Wyatt and I'm here to join Patrick and Grace to give you an update on the Drew O'Donoghue Fund, show my support for the fight against adrenocortical cancer, and to carry out Drew's legacy. I want to remind everyone of our partnerships with Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center, the University of Michigan Comprehensive Cancer Center, and the Villanova School of Business. These relationships have remained strong, and we are thankful to be partnered with these prestigious institutions. I'm excited to be here with you all, and especially to hear from our special guest. Patrick, would you like to introduce her?
I would love to, Jim. This special guest requires a little background story, and if you were with us for our first online event of 2020 in lieu of golf outing number 7, you're going to hear the story again because it just means a lot to me, and I'm so happy she's joined us today. So I had the pleasure of working in an office, small office in Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, the last 4 years. The office was occupied by 30 employees, all with the common goal in servicing our clients. Each of my coworkers all have their own life journey, all with a fine story of how they got to that office there in Conshohocken. Mine, I was the guy on the board of trustees for rare cancer, adrenal cancer, something no one in the office knew about. That would shortly change. A coworker came into work one day with a longing look in his eyes and his shoulders, a look that was far too familiar. The week went by, and I get a call from my coworker on the weekend And with a heavy heart, my coworker informs me his sister, in her mid-20s, had been diagnosed with adrenal cancer, the same cancer that gathers us here today. At this point, I'm flooded with emotions, but I feel a calmness settle over me, and that calmness was reinforced with a deeper purpose. And I haven't done the math, but a rare cancer occurring to siblings of coworkers in an office of 30, that was the real rareness. I believe that there's a purpose of why we work together. Like it was written in the stars that Drew's fight, it's not over. And I believe our mission here at the Drew O'Donohue Fund is now more clearer than ever. And to show you with a full heart, I would like to introduce you to that sibling of my coworker. So without further ado, here's Steph Pino. Everybody, Steph.
Thank you, Patrick, for that introduction, and certainly Drew must be a driving force to why our paths have crossed. To talk a little bit about how my story began, hi everyone, I'm Stephanie, and my journey began on a perfectly normal day. It's kind of crazy to think about, growing up, living a perfectly healthy life, playing tennis from the age of 7 through college, and living in New York, living what I thought was my best life with my friends, and just, going out and experiencing the city. And just like every other day, I went to work and went to my Pilates class, and I just remember having this pain, and I wasn't able to finish the class, and I just remember blaming it on this salad I ate for lunch, because I'm not a salad girl and I never eat salads, and I was like, there was something wrong with that salad. And I got home, my roommate was like, here, take some Tums, like everything will be fine, like. And I was pointing to the area, and she was like, maybe it's appendicitis, but it probably isn't. And I woke up the next morning, and I called my mom and brother, and they were like, you know what? You need to go to your doctor and make sure everything's okay. And I just remember putting on the loosest pair of jeans I had, and they would barely clip, and I was like kind of hunched over, and just, I really did think it was going to pass, but I took myself to my doctor, who then sent me to the emergency room. And this was right at the beginning of COVID. Nobody knew really what was going on, and it was scary, I'm not going to lie. My friend met me there, which was very comforting and helped, but I didn't even have a room in the emergency room. I was just on a seat in kind of the corner, and, I was there all day. But I remember just like joking around with my friends and like Snapchatting them and being like, LOL, get a free day off of work, like, like nothing's wrong, like good. I was just joking. And that's kind of my personality, to just kind of joke about things, but I just honestly would have never thought. I was talking to my mom throughout this whole time, and I was telling her, Mom, don't come up. It's all going to show clean and fine on the scan. This is more dramatic than it needs to be. It's all fine, but that's when those mother instincts, they are a real thing. Because my mom called me and said, she was driving up from Philly, and she calls me and says, I'm an hour away and I'll see you soon. I was like, oh, okay, fine. Like, I felt so bad that she drove up. And right when she got there, the doctor came out and the scan results came back, and the doctor said, can I talk in front of your mother? And I said, of course. And just going through my mind, like, what is she going to say? Like, and she goes, the CT scan found several tumors. And actually, I believe she said masses, which another word for tumor. But the time I just that exact reaction, I didn't know how to react. I was just like jaw dropped. So I was immediately admitted, and, the care was phenomenal, but I couldn't get a clear answer from them. If it was even cancer, what was going on, what type of cancer, nothing was showing up in my blood, in my history or anything. And that just made it that much more scarier. And, as the pain kept increasing, it was scary, and I was scared. And my parents knew that at that time, they knew immediately they needed to get me to MSK, and my brother knew that he needed to speak with Patrick. So, reflecting on the past 8 months, it's been some really, really difficult days. I started out with surgery, then chemotherapy, immunotherapy, 2 embolizations, now radiation along with mitotane. But I just finished radiation a few days ago, so really happy about that. And I'm just looking forward to just continued positive news and positive results. And, I've had some really hard days. And through all of this, the constant has just been my family, my friends, and just the amazing, amazing, amazing medical attention from Dr. Reedy, her team, all the doctors I've come in contact with, all the nurses at MSK. And just, I can't say it enough. They just make the experience so much easier for me, and then just make me so much more comfortable. Just like Drew, Grace, and many others, my fight isn't over and my journey continues, but I can't say it enough. Everyone at MSK, every single person I've come in contact with, from the person checking me in at the front desk to, Dr. Reedy, who is running the show, everyone just makes me feel more comfortable and makes this so much more easy and makes me able to be more positive about it when it is a really, really hard experience. But on another note, since I live in New York, I'm kind of bummed that we're not all able to get together at the New Yorker this year, because I heard that event tends to be, a little wild, getting into like a dance party type situation. But I look forward to seeing you all there next year.
Thank you, Steph. It's been so nice getting to know you these past few months, and we're all here to support you no matter what you need.
Yes, thank you so much for those inspiring words, Stephanie. As Grace is well aware, it is extremely important to stay involved with the friends and family going through this fight. We look forward to meeting you in person. Now, we are going to take another short commercial break. See you back in a bit.
We all know this year looks and feels a lot different than the annual holiday event at the New Yorker. However, we appreciate your attentiveness and support with our alternative virtual ideas in 2020. Hopefully next year, we can all join back together and continue right where we left off in November 2019. As for the golf outing, I've been brushing up on my golf skills during quarantine, which still isn't saying much, so I'll meet you on the 19th hole.
Please continue to stay actively involved. We always accept new individuals eager to accomplish our common goal, to cure ACC and to help those afflicted by it.
Check out our website, www.thedrewodonahuefund.org to keep up to date and to donate. Follow our Instagram, The Drew Fund, and share the good word. Also, don't forget that we are registered on Amazon Smile as a nonprofit organization that you can support with your purchases. We appreciate all that you do for us year in and year out, and we can't wait to see you all again next summer at the golf course.
I hope you understand how meaningful you all are to me and all those who have suffered from this horrible disease. Personally, you've changed my life, and I know so many others can and hope to say the same. Your dedication and kindness are not overlooked, and all of us here on the board cannot thank you enough.
And as usual, a final word from our president, Sean O'Donoghue, with a general board update and a story for you to take home.
Thank you, Grace, Jim, and Patrick, for your work on the fund and in this video. Thank you, Tina Wyatt, for your steady hand in all things IT. And of course, thank you, Dr. Reedy, for your leadership in adrenal cancer research at Memorial Sloan Kettering Cancer Center. And thank you to all our donors and the extended Drew O'Donoghue Fund family for tuning in to our annual update and for all of your love and support these past 6 years. Our $20,000 match drive for the fund at MSK was a resounding success. We continue to build great momentum together. I am taping these remarks from home and wish we could be together. Being able to work from home has been an interesting time for us all, and one for me. I seem to pace the house in between calls and snack at the same time, and have the time for introspection more than ever. Whether it's early in the morning or late at night, I might find myself in Drew's room, where most things are left as he had it. Leaving it mostly undisturbed is not an homage to him, but rather it offers us a glimpse at the stages of his life that we can singularly appreciate with laughs and some tears. It is pretty much the way he left it, perhaps a little neater and organized, but everything here he placed, touched, read, with items he cherished, all here. We have this room as a single reminder that he was a kid turned into a young man who had incredible gusto for life, a drive for success, a hunger to learn with love of family, friends, school, and community. I spoke about it a few years back, the small knickknacks about, that really aren't worth much other than the huge emotional value they carry. Pictures from an old mud ball football game with his buddies in grammar school, some who are now flying jets, graduated from med school, leaders in finance and real estate. An old Nike high top from his days playing hoops for Hunterdon Central, a dream of his when he was younger. Plaques on the wall for academic awards, pictures of his Villanova gang, a time he cherished, and letters and copies of emails sent to us about Drew, some that move us to the core. His extended family and friends wrote some incredible notes to us about their favorite memories with Drew, and I'll take a moment to read one from Emma. It was late by the time we're driving home, sometime after midnight. We were driving down 523, past Schaefer's and the Buffalo Farm, past Steve's Road, and that spot where my car spun out in a snowstorm and hit a very small tree, or maybe it was just a bush. Past Pickle Park and What's Cooking. We had the windows down and we were chatting as we usually did about everything and nothing, catching each other up with college stories since we've last seen each other, talking about our futures, where we wanted to move, and the jobs we hope to find. Somewhere between Stanton Ridge and Main Street White House, Drew said he wanted to show me a song he had just discovered. He played Day That I Die by Zac Brown Band, which I'd never heard. We listened happily, and I thought it was a great song, not thinking much of the words at the time. Then that part at the end of the song came, and Drew said, "This is my favorite part, the part where they all sing a cappella for the last chorus." Drew sang along, beautifully and carefree, and I listened. When the song ended, Drew, very matter-of-factly, said, "I want that song to play at my funeral." That's when it hit me. I told him it was a beautiful song and that he's got a long time to decide what songs he wants at his funeral, and we kept driving home. Now I know, you think that's a really sad story, right? That can't be my favorite memory. Out of all of the memories we made over the course of our 15 to 20-year friendship, but it is, because it carries so much more than sadness for me now. I can picture every mile of that drive home down a road I've driven down thousands of times. I can see the stars in the sky that you don't get to see in DC or LA, but you can see perfectly from White House Station. I can hear Drew singing along to a song that we both love. I can feel the cool, fresh New Jersey summer air. I can remember all 20 years of our friendship all wrapped up into one drive down one windy road home with Drew. And someday, when I'm an old lady and all my memories have faded, and the only one I have left of my time with Drew is this one, I'll be perfectly happy because it is the only one I need. When the day came for Drew's funeral, I walked into Our Lady of Lourdes, and could you guess what was playing? Day That I Die. And of course, on that day, it made me sad. But today, 5 years later, the memory of Drew and I in that car, on that road, listening to that song, is my favorite. Thank you, Emma, with our love. As 2020 is coming to a close, we are continuing to build momentum on a powerful platform of support for adrenal cancer research. Dr. Reedy at MSK has been instrumental in moving research with study, diligence, and perseverance, and an incredible understanding of patient care. That incredible care, connection, and wonder in the relationship with Drew, and what we see now between Dr. Reedy and Grace Dunn, is motivation and energized us in our cause and proves we are teamed with the right experts in the field, both at MSK and the University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center. MSK means a lot to the O'Donoghue family and the O'Donoghue Fund, as does Dr. Reedy. It always amazed me on how many people traveled to New York City for the event and how we all gathered to remember, support, and have a few laughs. I always said that this event turned from a serious fundraiser to a party in a drop of a dime. We will get back there soon. Drew created music to emote passion and joy. Drew embodied a spirit of faith. Drew danced, played, loved, befriended. Drew lived without fear. Drew lived his life in humility and selflessness, which gave him great strength. With these, he has given us great strength, creating a spark for us all to carry on our collective journey. Carry that on forever. Thank you. Happy New Year, and we look forward to dancing to September sometime very soon, just as Drew would want.
Although we would much have you,
I didn't say Drew found a holiday event.
have you.
Much rather have you.
Much have you.
ACC causes.
Come on!
Lucy, get out of here.
She's gonna come back over.
No, she's going. She's leaving.
Is that right? No.
There's no couch and you're...
No couch.
So redo that again.
Guest. There's no couch. The other. The top, make it drop.